Hello friends, welcome to Hudson County TV. I'm Fernando Uribe, reporting to you from City Hall in Jersey City, as I bring you a series of interviews I'll be conducting with Mayor Stephen Fulop. Mayor, it's been a few weeks since the administration began. What can you tell our viewers exactly about what's been the biggest adjustment for you here at City Hall?
Well, there is obviously during this transition period, there's been some challenges that we anticipated, which are kind of structural tax issues, and then there's some stuff we didn't anticipate. We've had a rash of violence, particularly related to guns, and gangs. That's first and foremost. We've had some questionable judgment issues from city employees that we've had to take aggressive action on, and some of those things were unanticipated, and every day is a different challenge. But look, we're moving along. We've done a lot of positive things as far as already kind of changing the course of some of the different departments, different leadership hiring in. It's not going to be overnight, but significant change, but I think we're on a path.
It's good that you mentioned about departmental changes. I mean, let's get right to it. There's been some uproar, whether it be social media or even in local media, about the decision to potentially combine the police department and the fire department in Jersey City. What factors contributed to that line of thinking ultimately?
Well, let's start with the fact that the fire department and the police department, there's a lot of synergies there. They're obviously different entirely from a job description standpoint, but there's really a lot of similarities as far as the structure and the leadership offices. So both departments would still have a chief that would operate the day-to-day, but as it relates to the person that deals with the administrative issues, that sets overall policies, grant offices, fiscal offices, there's a lot of synergies there, an opportunity to cut costs and improve efficiency. It really is a win-win, ultimately. It'll be a win-win on departmental structure and a win-win for the taxpayer.
Is it too early to give a tangible number about what the savings will be for taxpayers regarding these costs?
Yeah, we're going to put that together, and we will give that to the council, hopefully in the next, before the caucus.
Okay. Speaking of the city council, a big vocal opponent with this decision has been Councilman Borgiano, a retired police officer, so certainly there's the discussion that perhaps there's a loyalty there to his former brothers in blue. What can you tell us exactly about his opinion and where it's coming from in terms of, and how would you give a rebuttal to his criticisms right now about this decision, especially with James Shea?
Rich, look, it's only been a month, and I think his voting record speaks for itself as it relates to, wanting to say no often for the sake of saying no and not offering an alternative. So my hope is that Rich changes that philosophy and recognizes that it's okay to say no as long as you have an alternative. So you can't complain about tax issues and want to reduce taxes, but at the same time not offering alternative ideas, with your only idea being things that cost additional money. So look, I'm open to any suggestions that he has, as long as they benefit the city and benefit the residents. But we're waiting on any suggestions.
Mr. Mayor, you just mentioned taxes, and certainly the recent adoption of the city budget also created a lot of conversation, even social media and even other publications. What can you tell our viewers exactly about what was the thought process going into adopting the new budget, and ultimately a lot of the money already has been spent, as it's been alluded to, but now many residents are still in uproar because of the tax increase. Just briefly explain to our residents that aren't aware how this functions, because as it's viewed as a tax increase, but it's also an adoption of the budget, correct?
Yeah, so Mayor Healy proposed a budget earlier in the year that had some bonding, significant bonding, and I recommended an alternative to the bonding that made sense at that time. 6 months into the year, basically what's happened since then is he's done nothing on the on sales of certain properties that he placed in the budget initially. So we're 6 months into the year with a structural deficit of $20 million, and that basically equates to a $40 million annual reduction in order to balance the budget in the second half of the year. So we have 6 months left. Money's already spent. In order to find $20 million in the last 6 months, it would be the equivalent of cutting $40 million through the year. To put that into perspective, that is cutting nearly half of the fire department or police department So you're talking about massive cuts on public safety that I'm just not willing to do. So we close the chapter, turn the page, and we're looking to move forward. And I think next year and the year after, we could really look at some stability.
Okay. Speaking about public safety, as you mentioned earlier in the interview, there's been a rash of gun violence within the first few weeks. Obviously, that concerns you, as it does, I'm sure, the City Council and the Police Department. What measures are being taken right now?
Well, we have a new class in the police department right now. That's 37 officers. We're getting some transfers from the sheriff's office right now. So we're going to increase manpower. We're going to hopefully have another class before the end of the year. We've restructured police leadership so that putting a high emphasis and priority on residency requirements for our different police districts. We have done a national search, hired Jim Shea, who's got tremendous background, new leadership in the police department. We're looking to streamline and make the department more efficient with the combining of the two department leadership, and I think there's a real opportunity there.
Mr. Mayor, we appreciate a couple minutes here. Just one last question. Actually, it's a twofold question. Moving forward now, as your term obviously has begun within the last week, it's been a very tumultuous time for you. What can you tell our viewers specifically about infrastructure issues and how to address them in Jersey City? Not necessarily streets, but other infrastructure problems that maybe residents aren't aware of. I mean, how are you looking to address that now at the onset of your term?
Look, we are putting together a capital budget plan as it relates to next year and the following year as far as which parks we're going to prioritize, street paving, and arts and culture amenities. So we're working on that right now. It's been 3 weeks in office, so hopefully by Labor Day we'll have some clarity exactly where we're going.
Second part of the question here, obviously, it's you were recently seen with Newark Mayor Cory Booker in a meet and greet at the PATH station. It's great to develop a rapport with politicians of all backgrounds. What do you think about Mayor Booker's chances right now of winning that Senate seat in the special election, and ultimately his political capital right now?
Look, I think Cory's going to win. I think Cory's going to do a good job. I think it's important for Jersey City because Cory knows the challenges of a large city. Newark and Jersey City are very similar in size, very similar in challenges, and Cory's experienced it. So, having somebody in the Senate who understands the challenges is going to be an important and an advantage for Jersey City.
Okay. Well, Mr. Mayor, we appreciate a few minutes, and we look forward to these continued updates here on Hudson County TV.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Thank you.